Hey guys, what's up? In this video, I'm going to be talking about weapons and whether you should own weapons. And the answer is yes. Everybody should own weapons for self-defense. The people who call themselves the government, like the police have weapons and the military has weapons, the government has weapons. If the public chooses to be disarmed and have no weapons, you can't defend yourself against a government who decides to start attacking you. I mean, if someone has weapons to defend themselves, they're less likely to get attacked in the first place. I mean, would you go up to somebody on the street who is a firearm? Would you go up and start a fight with them? No, you wouldn't. A lot of women are afraid of weapons. They're afraid of violence. It scares them. Weapons scare them. And I understand that. But you should be more afraid of other people's weapons than your own weapon. Your own weapon actually protects you. So you don't need to be scared. You should actually feel safer because you can defend yourself. So men, all the men out there, every single one of you men. Now I'm white, so I'm just, a lot of times I just talk to my own people. But, this goes for all people. But anyway, white men, every single white man should be armed and have weapons to defend themselves for self-defense. I don't care what country you live in. I don't care if you live in the United States, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the UK, all of Europe, wherever you are, South Africa. If you're a white male, you should have weapons. You should have firearms for self-defense. Not only do you have to defend yourself, you have to defend your friends, and you have to defend your family. You have to defend your wives and your children. If you just leave yourself defenseless, you can all be victimized. That's how genocides happen. Criminal governments in the past, they'll disarm the population, and then once the population is disarmed and defenseless, then they murder all of them. Because those people back then, they were foolish enough to be talked into disarming themselves so that they couldn't defend themselves. And a reason the government would want to disarm a lot of people is so they can just have power over them. And maybe a government is just using a big group of people. They don't have your best interests at heart. They just look at you as a bunch of slaves they can use and abuse. If you have power, if your people have power, if the people in the population have power to defend themselves, then, these other people who are psychopaths, who have a lot of weapons in the military and the government, they're going to think twice before abusing people if those people have weapons to defend themselves. And yes, white Europeans, we have a right to defend ourselves. Look what's going on in Israel and Palestine right now. Look what happened to the Palestinians. The Palestinians don't have as many weapons as the Israelis, so the Palestinians have been mass murdered and genocided. And I'm sure a lot of the Palestinian women there, I'm sure they were afraid to have weapons in the house. And, weapons are scary and stuff. But look what happened to all those women and children and men in Palestine, because they didn't have enough weapons to defend themselves, and they didn't have enough money and riches to buy those weapons. The Palestinians are a perfect example of what happens to a people who allow themselves to be inferiorly armed. I mean, the Israelis, they're armed to the teeth with the best of the best. They're armed to the teeth with the best weapons they can get. The best handguns, the best machine guns, the best rocket launchers, the best tanks, jets, and bombers. The Israelis are armed to the teeth with everything they can get their hands on. The best of the best. And they get other countries sending them the best weapons, the United States. You know why? Because the Israeli people know that in order to be safe and protect themselves, they need weapons and power and money. They go after all those things. So yes, if you're a white man, you're a white male, white European male, you have a duty to arm yourself. As a matter of fact, you should buy weapons as gifts for your friends and family. Yeah, your friends and your family, they should be armed too. Your brothers, your cousins, your uncles, whatever, your father. If they can't afford to get a weapon, buy one for them. And you know what? Take them to the gun range too to practice and get comfortable with them. And remember, these weapons are for self-defense. You're not going to go victimize any innocent people with these weapons. These weapons are for self-defense. They're to protect yourself from criminals. And the European people, we have a right to protect ourselves from criminals, and nobody on this earth can tell us otherwise. And anybody else who does try to tell us otherwise, they're actually criminals. You don't have to listen to them. So, get the best weapons you can get your hands on, right? You get the best firearms you can get your hands on. Whatever the best weapons you can get your hands on are, get them. And get them for your family, and get them for your friends. And by the way, this isn't just another video. This is an extremely important video. This idea is extremely important. So share this video with as many other people as you possibly can, so people get this idea into their head and they realize, listen, we have to be armed to defend ourselves because we have people that hate us and want to destroy us. With the amount of anti-white hate out there, do you not think that there are people out there that will start taking violent criminal actions against us? Listen, don't be naive. Don't have a childish naiveness about you, about this world. This is a violent world, and people are violent, and they will victimize you if you let them. Get over your naiveness and realize that you need weapons to defend yourself, okay? You have a right to defend yourself, and your family and friends have a right too. You know what happens if you don't have any weapons? You leave yourself open to being victimized. You leave your friends and your family open to being victimized. How are you going to protect your friends and your family if you don't have weapons? But all these other groups that hate your people, they have all the best weapons. They have the best weapons that are available on the planet, and you don't have any? Well, you're being naive and irresponsible. You're not living up to your duty as a man if you leave your family open to being attacked and abused. As a man, it's your duty to defend your family and your friends and your people. And to do that in this world, you need weapons. You need firearms for self-defense. So if you've never fired a gun before, why don't you go to a gun range and get some practice and, get used to having it in your hand and seeing how it works so you become comfortable. People get training and things for a reason. People get into the military and get military training so they know what it is to be a soldier. So that's another thing you should do, and you should tell everybody else to do, is get training. Get those weapons and get training in them. Be trained with those weapons. Get all your friends and all your family and relatives, get them to get training too. And bring them to the gun range. And, try out all the weapons. Educate yourself on weapons for self-defense. And actually, this should be a part of our culture from now on. They changed our traditional culture. We don't have to just sit here and let other strangers and people who don't like us change our culture on us. Let's take our culture into our own hands. Now, white people, you need to have a culture of self-defense. You need to start this culture where all white men and women, if they're comfortable with it, have weapons for self-defense. Make it a part of our culture. And don't be naive, okay? Take the Palestinians as an example. Women and children and men being genocided because they didn't have the weapons to defend themselves. You don't have to be afraid of your own weapons. You have to be afraid of other people's weapons. Don't be afraid to have your own weapons. If anything, it just makes you safer. It's a deterrent to psychopaths. That's right. Weapons are a deterrent from psychopaths who would harm you. Because if psychopaths think there's a chance of danger to them, they're going to think twice before they pull off their little criminal actions, their little psychopathic, aggressive actions. Be a peaceful people, but have weapons to defend yourself, right? That should be the culture. We're a peaceful people, but we have a right to defend ourselves, and we have the weapons to do it if you want to try to become psychopaths and violate us. Look what's going on with Israel and Iran right now. Israel bombed Iran, and then Iran fired rockets back and blew up a bunch of buildings in Tel Aviv. This is an example. The Iranians are defending themselves from violent attack. The Israelis violently attacked and murdered a bunch of Iranians because the Israelis have the best weapons you can get on the planet, because the Israelis have a culture of self-defense, and the Israelis aren't naive. The Jewish people were, a lot of them were genocided in World War II, right? So they know what happens if you're unarmed. And now they're the ones doing the genociding, which they shouldn't be doing. They should know better than to do that. If the Israelis were victimized in the past, why are they doing it to other people now? That seems like a hypocritical thing to do. If anything, they should be the biggest proponents of peace of anybody, because they know what it feels like to be violently destroyed. If you know what it feels like to lose someone, if you know what it feels like to lose members of your family to violence and murder, then you should definitely be one of the first people to speak about peace. But at the same time, understand that all the people in this world aren't peaceful, and you got to defend yourself from the violent psychopaths, okay? You can't be naive. You can't be a childish, naive person. I mean, a lot of people get attacked over history from their governments because a lot of these people in the government, they're just a group of people. They call themselves the government, but they're just a group of people who are in power, and they have all the best weapons money can buy. If they want to, they can just choose to start violating people with those weapons. And what they did, they conned and talked to other people in public to disarm themselves. They've conned everybody else into disarming themselves so they can be defenseless. And at the same time, they have all the best weapons that have ever been invented on the planet. And they're hogging all the money up to use it. You see, there's certain people in this world, they want everything for themselves. They want all the money. They want the best of everything. They want all the money. They want the best weapons, the best lifestyle, the best food, the best fucking cars, the best houses, the best vacations, right? They want it all. They want everything on this planet, the best of everything on this planet. But they talk you into suffering and being defenseless and being poor and being powerless. And that's what a lot of you white people have become. You become poor, powerless, and defenseless. You have no weapons, and you have no possessions, you have no money. You haven't accumulated anything that you need in this earth. My final words on this video: arm yourself, arm your friends, arm your family. Every one of you get training, and share this video with everybody everywhere. Peace out.